Hi everyone. Erica is out today because she is stuck in a long layover in Reykjavik, of all places, and I am Chris filling in for the entire lesson today. This week, a business owner says he fired 2 of his 4 software developers after one afternoon with a new AI model. The 2 people he cut were earning $265,000 a year combined. The decision took a few hours of testing, and the internet has not stopped yelling about it since. By the time we're done, you'll know what the post actually said, what the newest layoff numbers show, and the one question to ask about your own job before this year ends. Fair warning, 2 of those numbers genuinely surprised me. The third is the reason I won't just tell you to relax.
Hey everyone, Isabella here, and this story arrived shaped like a parable. The model is literally named Fable. The post reads like a fable about the future of work, and half the internet is convinced the whole thing is fiction. So I pulled the timeline apart hour by hour, because with stories like this, the timeline is the evidence. The dates check out, the numbers check out, and the ending is messier than either side wants.
This is Caroline, and my first instinct is always to follow the money out loud. He was paying those 2 developers $265,000 a year, and the tool that replaced them bills by the word like a very fast freelancer. So who gets paid when a boss says yes to that trade, and who carries the risk when production breaks at 2 in the morning? Hold that question, because the answer decides whether this was business or theater.
Hi all, I'm Cynthia, and I keep getting stuck on the part of this nobody screenshots. 2 real people got 2 weeks of notice on a Tuesday because a benchmark looked good on a Monday. If your stomach dropped a little just hearing that, you are exactly who we made this episode for.
And before anyone files this under tech drama, the post's most chilling sentence was not about code. He wrote that everybody in his shoes will have to do the same thing. That is a claim about every small business in the country, and unlike most internet claims, this one is checkable.
Quick gut check around the table before we open the case file. Is this one impulsive boss with a keyboard, or the first loud example of something the data says is already happening everywhere? Caroline, I want your honest read on that by the end. Last episode, we talked about feeds that only show the winners, and a viral firing post is a survivor of its own kind of filter. So here is the plan. The post first, then the data, then the verdict on your job. Isabella, take us back to Monday, June 9th.
Monday, June 9th, 2026. Anthropic releases Claude Fable 5 and calls it the most capable model it has ever shipped to the public. One launch customer says it compressed months of engineering into days, and the announcement describes a code migration finished in a day that a whole team would have needed 2 months to do by hand.
Those launch claims matter because they are the exact sales pitch our boss read before lunch. Months of work and days is catnip to anyone who signs a payroll. The marketing did not fire anybody, but it absolutely set the table.
Within hours, a small business owner posts in a Reddit community for users of that model. He runs a 4-person dev team. He already froze hiring this year, and he says the new model sailed through code changes the previous one struggled with. Then comes the line that lit the fuse. Tomorrow I am firing 2 of my devs, and part of the savings will buy the tool for the 2 who stay.
But the post did something rarer than bragging. It named numbers, which is exactly why it spread. $125,000 and $140,000 in salaries, gone. He even predicted the backlash, describing the world's future with a word we cannot repeat on this channel.
By the next morning, it was real. The second update said he fired them at the start of the day and paid out 2 weeks of notice. He closed the post with 4 flat words. Not a fun day.
Between those 2 updates, he also answered his critics with a single word: denial. In his telling, the entire comment section was a room full of people refusing to read the wall, which is a strong word from a man one day into an experiment.
Now here's the part that turns this from gossip into data. The crowd's reaction was not mixed, it was a landslide. The post got voted down to 0, and for every person who upvoted it, Nearly 4 slammed the down arrow. 35 comments, and the mood was a courtroom.
And the top comment was not an insult, it was an audit. See if you can spot the single point of failure in this plan. 4 developers became 2 developers plus a subscription, which means 1 bad flu week or 1 resignation letter leaves the whole company running on a tool and a prayer.
The second biggest cluster argued business logic, not ethics. Keep all 4 people, give everyone the tool, and expand what the company can take on because the same money buys growth instead of severance. Several developers also warned about review fatigue, saying the 2 who stay will drown in checking machine-written code they never wrote themselves. That fatigue is real even on teams that kept everybody.
And then there is the camp that doubts the story entirely. Plenty of commenters called it rage bait or even guerrilla marketing. And one person simply set a reminder bot to check back in 3 weeks. Which honestly might be the most scientific response on the whole thread.
But the comment that stays with me came from outside tech. One person said they watched their own career dissolve into a side gig because of technology and that nobody cared when it happened to them. Underneath all the shouting, that is the fear this post touched. And fear like that deserves better answers than a comment section can give.
So that is the case file, 1 loud decision, 35 comments, and a verdict of nearly 4-1 against. The question that actually matters is whether the data backs the boss or the crowd. Caroline, you brought the receipts, so open them.
Here is the receipt I promised, and it comes from the people who count layoffs for a living. Challenger, Gray, and Christmas has tracked job cut announcements since the 1990s. And their May report reads like a warning flare. American employers announced about 97,000 cuts in May, the worst May since 2020. These are announced cuts, straight from the company's own statement.
And before anybody waves that off as one bad month, the reason column is where this gets personal. Watch what the companies themselves say caused each cut.
Inside that number sits the real headline. Employers pinned almost 39,000 of those May cuts directly on AI, which is 40% of everything announced that month. That makes it the #1 stated reason for the 3rd month in a row, ahead of the economy and ahead of restructuring.
Run that pace out, Caroline, and it gets uncomfortable fast. The year-to-date count blamed on AI is almost 88,000, already far past the roughly 55,000 logged in all of last year. And tech is the bullseye, with over 120,000 cuts so far, up 2/3 from this point last year.
Now meet the person inside those statistics. Picture Maya, a 24-year-old junior developer 2 years out of school. She spends her days fixing bugs and building the small features nobody senior wants. Her job is made of exactly the tasks these models are best at, and the data says her age group is already paying for it.
And Maya is not rare, she is the default first hire at every shop like his. So what actually happened to people like her once these tools landed? The honest answer comes from payroll records, not from opinions. Isabella, what did the payroll say?
Stanford's Digital Economy Lab pulled payroll records from ADP, covering millions of American workers, and asked a simple question. What actually happened to employment after these tools went mainstream? For workers aged 22 to 25 in the most exposed jobs, employment fell 13% relative to everyone else. Older workers doing the same work held steady or even grew.
Notice who that pattern protects and who it leaves outside. The people with 10 years of judgment keep their seats, while the people who were supposed to spend this decade earning that judgment cannot get in the door. If the entry-level rung breaks, you do not just lose jobs today, you lose the senior engineers of 2035.
So put the worry case in one sentence. Companies are publicly naming AI as their #1 reason to cut staff, and the youngest workers in the most exposed roles are measurably losing ground. Whatever you think of one Reddit boss, 88,000 pink slips are not rage bait. That is the strongest version of the case, so sit with it for a second.
Before anyone spirals, hold 2 things at once. The trend is real, and the trend having limits is also real. Because the other side of this debate has data too, and one of its studies is the funniest result I have read all year. Stick with me because it might save you from a very expensive overreaction.
Take a breath because the careful counters looked at the same economy and found something calmer. The budget lab at Yale has tracked the whole labor market since these tools arrived in late 2022. They're finding repeated update after update is stability. The mix of occupations is shifting no faster than before, and people in exposed jobs are not staying unemployed longer than anyone else.
And the Yale team raised a wonderfully suspicious idea called AI washing. When a company says the robot made me do it, the market hears strategy, while the words struggling with demand just sound like failure. So some slice of those 88,000 pink slips may be ordinary cost-cutting wearing a futuristic costume.
Now for my favorite study of the year, and I want you to lock in a guess first. A research lab called Meter ran a randomized trial with 16 veteran open-source developers across 246 real coding tasks. Half the time they could use AI assistants, half the time they could not. How much faster do you think the AI made them?
I will play the optimist on record because everyone in that study expected around 24% faster. Honestly, watching these tools write whole functions, I would have guessed even more.
The developers were 19% slower with the AI tools, not slower on their bad days, slower on average, measured like a drug trial. And here's the part that should worry the Reddit boss more than any backlash. After the study ended, those same developers still believed the tools had made them 20% faster.
That gap between feeling fast and being fast has a family history, so let me tell you about the last tool that was supposed to end office work. In 1979, the electronic spreadsheet arrived, and it could do in seconds what took a clerk an entire day. Since 1980, America lost about 400,000 bookkeeping and accounting clerk jobs. The same era added about 600,000 accountant jobs, because once analysis got cheap, everyone wanted more of it.
I will admit the watchdog in me loves that twist. The scary technology arrived, the bill for analysis fell, and clients responded by ordering more analysis. Demand is the variable everybody forgets when they subtract jobs with a calculator. So before you mourn every job on an org chart, ask what customers do when the price of the work collapses.
And notice the shape of that story. The technology killed a task. The job rebuilt itself around judgment. And the people who learned the new tool early owned the next decade. It also took years and years to play out. Careers got to adapt over a generation, not over one afternoon.
So the trap is thinking the tool does the task, so the tool takes the job. You watch a model write code and you do the obvious math, subtract the coder. But a job is a bundle, the code plus the judgment plus the accountability. Caroline flagged when production breaks at 2 in the morning. The tool took one item out of the bundle, and that boss threw away the whole bag.
Even the layoff counters agree on the limits here. Andy Challenger runs the firm that produced those May numbers. His take is that AI is not yet the jobpocalypse some predicted, and that like spreadsheets and email, it will ultimately make workers more productive. But his own data shows companies are already acting on it anyway, and that tension is exactly where your job sits. So here's the question we promised. Should you be worried about your job? The honest answer has two halves, and pretending it only has one is how people end up either paralyzed or blindsided. No hedging and no doom, just what the evidence supports. Let us give the panel one final pass at both.
Half one. The threat is narrower than the headlines, but very real inside its lane. If your day is mostly tasks a model already does well, especially early in your career, you are in that lane. For you, the 13% decline is not a prediction, it is a measurement. I will not dress that up, because the people in that lane deserve the truth more than they deserve comfort.
Half two, the economy as a whole is not collapsing into a server room. The World Economic Forum's employer survey expects about 170 million new roles this decade against 92 million displaced, a net gain of 78 million. Caroline will rightly say that is a survey of employer optimism, not a law of physics. But it matches what Yale sees on the ground right now, churn, not cliff.
And Maya, our 24-year-old from earlier, deserves a real answer instead of a vibe. Her risk is not that a model replaces her next month. It is that a hiring freeze quietly deletes the next opening she would have grown into. The spreadsheet era says the safe ground is wherever judgment meets the tool. So her move, Chris, is becoming the person who runs the machine rather than the person racing it.
Time for the verdict, and here's what I'd actually do. 3 reps starting this week. Rep 1. Spend 1 hour a week using these tools on your own real work, because the trial says your feelings about them lie and practice is the only correction. No course required, just honest reps on your actual job.
I like Rep 1 because it is humble. You are not betting your career on a hot take, you are collecting your own evidence 1 week at a time. It is also how you find out early whether your lane is shrinking while there is still time to change lanes.
Rep 2. Migrate toward the judgment end of your work. That means the requirements, the reviews, and the client conversations. Rep 3. Keep receipts. A running list of outcomes you owned that a tool cannot claim. Whoever holds the judgment and the relationships holds the job.
And 1 rep for the bosses watching, because Caroline's single point of failure cuts both ways. A team you cut to the bone in 1 afternoon cannot catch the tool's mistakes. And the trial we quoted says the mistakes will feel like speed. Resilience is part of productivity too, for workers and for companies.
As for our Reddit boss, the reminder bot checks back in 3 weeks, and I genuinely hope his 2 remaining developers are holding up. Either way, he's posted one useful thing. It forced 1 million people to rehearse this conversation before it knocked on their own door. Stories do that, even the ones that turn out to be fables.
And for the record, if his bet pays off, we will say so, because the receipts cut both ways. If it does not, 2 careers paid for the lesson and the comment section already wrote the verdict. That is the deal we make with every story we cover here.
Drop one thing in the comments. Has AI shown up in your work yet? And was it a tool or a threat? Walk away with this. AI is moving faster than the job market, but slower than the panic, and the person most likely to take your job is still a person, one who learned the tool first. So go be that person. Quick recap before we close. 1 boss fired 2 developers after 1 afternoon. The layoff trackers say companies really are acting on AI, and the careful studies say the panic is outrunning the proof. Tonight, give the tool 1 real task of yours, because future you keeps the seat that panic would have emptied.
The number I cannot unhear is 600,000. The accountant jobs the spreadsheet quietly created after everyone had written the obituary.
Mine is 19% slower while feeling 20% faster. Audit your own speed before you let anybody's benchmark decide your worth.
And if this episode found you holding a 2-week notice, none of these numbers are a verdict on you. The data says the door reopens, it just reopens somewhere new.
Progress loves a checklist. Check 1 box today.
Text from Erica. She sent a gif of a chef kissing his fingers. I will leave the interpretation to you.
This is Chris. Thanks for watching and signing off.